You coined the term experience economy. You coined it.
Yep.
I don't want to like skip over.
I didn't invent it. I discovered what companies
You didn't
were
just
doing.
you didn't
But
invent
yes, I coined it,
experiences,
right.
but you coined it,
Yep.
and then became the focus 20 years in to focus on experiences. That's not a small thing.
Yeah, well, it definitely was a step in. One of the, you were here in Cleveland yesterday for our Launch Fest event, where we did a presentation on the new ideas in this book and that, and one of the people there was Liam Thornton. And he now works for Live Nation, but back 20 years ago, he worked for Universal, right? So Universal Studios, the theme parks and all that sort of thing. And we had a meeting with them, right, shortly after the book came out, which they devoured, right? Craig and a colleague of his, you heard it, say it yesterday. So they devoured the book, and we got into this meeting with them, and like the first words out of their mouth was, "Who are you guys? Right? Who are you guys? It's like you wrote this book. We've never heard of you. You know how we think." And how does that happen? And I actually talked with him further later that day after he said that, and he said it really is the case, is that we had all this tacit knowledge for how to design experiences and how you create a great theme park ride and attraction and all this, but we'd never written it down. We never thought about it. We just go through it. He says, then when you guys wrote it down, it's like, yeah, that's it. That's how we do things. My favorite comment I got from people all the time in the first 2 or 3 years that the book came out, and then not so much, and then recently it's been a lot also, was basically along the lines of, thank you for giving me the vocabulary to describe what it is that I do.
Yes.
Right? Because there was all this activity, there was all this experience staging, but people didn't have the vocabulary for understanding it. And now, I remember one telling me that I can explain it to my mother now, and she gets it.
I think I was a practitioner of experience, but it hadn't been coined yet. Yeah. And so we were working in customer experience, but calling it customer service, customer loyalty, and we measured that in our organization, and we created a feedback loop by which we had improvements, but it was like there was still something more, and it wasn't quite just a dynamic that was static. It was like dynamic, and so how can we create it? And when you coined that term, it gave me a lot of leverage to be able to say, I think there's something more that we have to tap into and think about in our organization. So I was thankful that you'd coined it and was able to leverage it and utilize it when the industry itself hadn't erupted and said, this is what it is. And so I appreciate that you gave us a way to be able to work around it, frame around it, and then evolve to it, which, I always say this to anybody who asks me about the work that you've done. I think I still stand amazed today. Like, you were ahead of your time.
I mean, we didn't think we were ahead of the time. We thought we were right on time because it was going on. But you certainly can see in the 20 intervening years, how much of an explosion there has been in experiences. I also always say it's not something we invented. We discovered it, right? We discovered what people like you were naturally doing to create competitive advantage, to differentiate yourself, to provide more value to your customers. And that just natural evolutions as you go from commodities to goods to services to experiences to create more value.